finger down if you were working a shift at Sephora. Midway through your shift, you start getting back pain, and your boss is like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You're like, "Yeah, you're good." And then about 30 minutes later, your back pain cripples you to the floor, and you almost pass out, and then your boss is like, "Go to the doctor." So you go home and you wait for your boyfriend to get home, and you're like, "I need to go to the doctor. I literally can't like move. You're throwing up because your back pain's so bad." And then you go to the doctor, and they're like, "We think you have a large kidney stone," and they send you by ambulance to the ER. And then you're in the ER for 5 hours before they even start running any labs or tests on you. And you can't even sit down to pee, so they can't do a urine. They do your blood. The doctor comes in and is like, "We're going to get a portable x-ray to look at your kidney and see if there's a large kidney stone." And so then he comes back and he's like, "Portable x-ray isn't available, so we're going to get an ultrasound." And so you lay on your back, and he's going around to your sides, and he goes around to your left side, and he doesn't see anything in that kidney. So he goes around to the right side, and he's like, "When was the last time you saw your OB?" And you're like, "About 1.5 years ago when I got my IUD." And then he's like, "Well, I don't know how to tell you this, so," and then he just turns up the volume on the ultrasound machine, and your mom's sitting there, and then you hear a really, really fast heartbeat, and you're like, "Oh my God, is that mine?" And your mom is like, "No, that's a baby." And then the doctor's like, "Congratulations, you're pregnant and in labor." That's the story of how I found out I was pregnant. And then 24 hours later, I gave birth to a 10-pound baby. Medical mystery. Yay!
Let this be a lesson to always advocate for yourself, because I tell you the truth, this school, like, me and my school have had to get into it a couple of times this semester over people trying to play in my face. Let's start off with the following. Y'all know I had Big Rona. Big Rona was stomping me out. I was delusional and delirious, damn near defeated. It was rough, okay? So I had to take an exam for a class while I was quarantining, while I was fully sick and feverish with Rona. I end up taking the exam. I get a 95. I think nothing of it. Whoop-de-doo. That's it. That's done. Tell me why, for this class, I go in to take the final, which, mind you, we're able to drop the final, so I really just took it for, like, moral support, just for giggles, for funsies. I didn't study for it at all. After I take the final, the professor goes, or not the professor, one of the TAs goes and pulls me to the side, like, "Hey, so we were talking about your quarantine exam score. We don't think we're going to accept it because it's suspicious." You talk about somebody has never gone home and sent an email to the professor faster. So we end up going back and forth over the email. They basically are trying to tell me they're not going to accept my grade. And I'm like, oh no. I know you didn't check which student you're talking to, because let's get a couple of things clear. First of all, number one, if I'm cheating, I'm getting 100. Double zero me. Double zero me. Second of all, no offense to nobody, you know, whatever. Sorry to the people. The class average was a little bit dicey on that exam, but I'm always above the average. Never been below the average. My average is a 98, matter of fact. Like, if you literally could have just checked, the student that you were talking to before you even tried to hype all this up. And then the thing that killed me was, I scheduled a Zoom meeting, right? Because I'm like, enough of this email back and forth. I have my email read receipts on. I can see that they're in distress. I start sending receipts. I start having to get a little bit like, in the emails. So we pull up to the Zoom meeting, and it's a whole different tune, because they basically didn't realize my record in the class. I don't know if they checked my GPA before the meeting, but it's like, yeah, I do this. I have no reason to cheat in this class. And beyond that, if I'm cheating, I'm getting 100. Let's start there. Like, and then the thing that was crazy to me was that when I started talking about how technically I wasn't even supposed to take the exam because I had COVID and they were supposed to give me extra time anyway, it was crickets. It's like, yeah, if I wanted to file academic grievance right now, what would you do? What would you do? Because you're wrong. And then this is the other thing that happened with this school. So y'all know I had to get into it with the academic advisor, because they fired my old academic advisor. Long story short, there's this very hard math class that I was supposed to take. It's a school requirement or whatever, but I tested out of it because my old advisor told me if I test out of it, I'd get credit for it. Get to this new advisor after they fired my old advisor. She tells me I basically can't do that, and I need to take an even harder math class because I tested out of the first one. I don't know why she thought I wasn't going to escalate the situation further, because it's like, Miss Girl, I already put in the work to test out of class. I'm not going to pay y'all to take a summer class. And you fired that lady. That ain't got nothing to do with me. She overrode it. It's overridden. Let it rest. Long story short, she wasn't moving with enough urgency and acting like she was going to fix the situation. So I scoured the internet, found the dean's personal email after being told that the dean was not accepting meetings, scheduled a meeting with the dean, and then right before I was supposed to meet with the dean, she emails me telling me the situation had been resolved. Still met with the dean anyway, though.
Okay, so I got maternity photos done professionally, and when I was looking at the photographer's page today, I noticed that the women of color who were on her page, they were missing their brown line, and I was like, I don't want that or any of my stretch marks like removed from my photos. So I messaged her like, hey, just a quick note, can you keep my stretch marks and keep the dark line on my stomach? Like I want my photos even after they're retouched to have these. And she's like, sure. How is this? And then she sends me an example of a photo. Dude, she took like 40 pounds off of me.
Isn't it amazing the things that we find out about our husbands once we file divorce? Take this picture, for instance. This right here is me and my ex-husband at a charity gala. This right here is a picture of my ex-husband's dating profile while we were still married. Notice how he scratched my face out of the picture? Oh, and did I also mention that his name is not Bradley, as the profile says? That's actually my dead nephew's name. No sooner did I file divorce did a lovely woman from Norway reach out to my husband's first wife, Athena. She had some questions, things weren't adding up. Apparently, my husband was going by a fake name. He told her that he was a multi-millionaire who had homes all over the world, that he was actually looking for property in Norway and was going to move there. What else? Oh, and he has never been married nor had any children. Now, he also said that he was a psychologist. Let me just say, every single bit of it, all lies. 100% all lies. So, when she reaches out to Athena, she shows her some interesting information. The woman from Norway explains to both of us that our ex-husband flew her from Norway to Los Angeles for a week getaway. He, of course, told me he was on a business trip. 3 days into the trip, he ghosts her. She wakes up, he's gone, and she doesn't know where he's at. He finally text messages her a couple days later and said it's his mom, and that he was in a car accident, was hit by a car, and was in a coma. He sends this picture, which she found out was a Google image, and it was actually a woman's arm. Oh, but it gets crazier. Then he sends her a FaceTime call, and he has himself all bandaged up with a Eeyore hospital gown to prove to her that he was indeed just coming out of a coma, when the truth was that he flew back to his wife, me, and then had to figure out how to backtrack and make this woman believe that he was dying, essentially.